Son las 12:09 y estamos aquí con unas invitadas. Si pueden decir su nombre. Otra vez, por favor. Okay. Estas son unas miembros de la Iglesia Abba, unas jóvenes que tenemos invitadas y con quien queremos hablar. Tenemos unas topics. We have some topics here today that we want to talk about with the youth. I have this Bible right here. This Bible is a youth Bible, and we have 5 topics we want to talk about. So I sent you the topics. I hope you saw them and y'all went through them. But before we start, we want to pray, put this thing like in God's hands and let the Holy Spirit move around. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so if y'all can close your eyes so we can start this. Señor Jesús, gracias por este día que nos has dado, gracias por todo lo que has hecho, porque nos has ayudado, nos has cuidado, nos has traído aquí, Señor Jesús. Nos has dado otro día más de vida, nos dejaste ver a nuestra familia, hermanos, amigos en Cristo, Señor Jesús. Ponemos este tiempo en tus manos, que tú seas el que esté hablando por medio de nosotros. Úsanos, úngenos con tu Espíritu Santo, que tu Espíritu Santo esté morando dentro de nosotros, Señor Jesús. Llénanos, Señor Jesús. Ponemos este tiempo en tus manos, en nombre del Padre, y el Hijo, y el Espíritu Santo. Amen, amen, y amen. Amen. So, we have 5 topics like we have said, and what it's all about is mostly common errors or concept that we have of ourselves. I don't know how many times you had a realization, where you've been like, oh, like that's a mistake, or like that's an error that I do, and some of these are like having an idea, like a elevated idea of ourselves. Like when I mean like elevated, I mean as in like you think like you're all that, like you put yourself above others, like in a way where you belittle others and you put yourself high. Huh? Yeah, kind of like conceited. I don't know. For me, there has been some times where I've been like, oh yeah, like I've been thinking like I'm up there sometimes when it comes to like things that I like, as in like art or music and stuff like that. And so when it comes to when I'm doing like an art piece, when I was in school and I was in art and I was doing an art piece, I'll be like, man, mine's the best one, mine's better than that guy's right there. But most of the time when it has to do with something like that, like it might be like insecurity, or low self-esteem, because people who like to put themselves at a higher place than others is because they don't want to be seen as lower than others. I don't know if y'all ever felt like that before.
Yes. I mean, somewhat. And I feel like in the same area as have you.
No.
Really?
Oh, so she's
like,
humble.
She's humble.
Well, she's humble. Okay, that's a good quality. That's a good quality to have, to be humble. But yeah, this is something that a lot of people have a misconception about. That's something that it's a common mistake. When we mean like common mistake, it's something that is done so often that you think is so normal. Like I don't know about Natalie, because she said she hasn't been like that. She's humble, but Emily, have you been in a situation where you were in a way trying to boost yourself up to make yourself feel better? I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot here, but
I mean, I feel like nothing really comes to mind, but I'm sure I have.
mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's natural Well, that's your Natalie.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is a natural thing to have sometimes, even though it's not right. I mean, well, I don't know, because you're trying to say that it's not something that you should do.
Yeah, like what I mean.
Yeah.
What I mean by like it's something that you do like constantly all the time, you know, where you like to brag in front of others all the time, where you like to make yourself look cool all the time, you know. This is what I mean, because there are situations where you feel down and stuff, and that's when you start like making yourself feel better by saying like, nah, I could do this, like I'm better, I know I could do better and stuff like that. And in that situation or in that case, like I feel like it's reasonable to do it, but when it comes to a point where you're doing it all the time and you're doing it in front of others, you know, so like they can see, then I feel like that's where it's a problem, and it's like it's a mistake, you know, it's a common mistake that we do. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, you know, because I wanted to see y'all's opinion on this, or see like if y'all gone through like a situation like that. But I see that y'all are pretty humble, you know. You can't remember anything like that.
I feel like the last thing I remember is like me when I was little. Okay. But I feel like when you're little, like you don't really think, you're not conscious of what other people like feel. Yeah. So when I was little, I think I would have like a lot of toys, and I would tell my cousins, I would show them, I'd be like, look what I got, you know, and I would kind of like show it off. And then one time, it was one of my cousins, I had like those bracelets. I always tell the story. But the ones that turn into animals, like, they're from a long time ago.
Okay.
And you take them off and they turn into something.
Oh yeah, the silly bracelets, yeah. Something like that.
And I had a lot of those, all like up to my arm.
Yeah, I remember.
I showed my cousins, and I spent the night at their house, and I woke up, and they were like gone. And I was like, where'd they go? They stole them.
They stole them?
Yeah. And then later on, I asked my cousin, I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
She was like, because you were just bragging about it.
Dang.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that brings me to like another point where it talks about having a low self-esteem, you know, and it says here, let me see, let's see where it at, because I'm lost a little bit right here. Well, what I have here is that I don't know how many times you know where you were wrong in hurting somebody, or where you've ever hurt somebody, and then you try to like forgive them. I mean, ask for forgiveness, and then but they were like, nah, like I can't forgive you. And like, but you tried, you know. You tried, like you recognize, like, dang, like I messed up, like I hurt this person, and like sometimes we don't accept it, or sometimes we don't even recognize it, but sometimes we do accept it and we try to make it right, and we go up to that person and we ask for forgiveness, you know, but sometimes they don't accept it. How many times have you been put in that situation?
Like over dramatic about it, but like they're just like, no, like you're gonna keep doing it and keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you show change into it, like change, like they should accept it. Mm-hmm. It shows that you have remorse for what you did.
Yeah.
But I think there was like one time, and it was like when I was younger. Whenever like,
when we were little, huh?
Whenever like you do something or like you accidentally insult them, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean it like that. It was supposed to be as a joke, but they didn't take it as a joke, and they're just like, no, like I don't want to talk to you. Like I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they're not popping into my head right now. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I've never had like really bad. Oh, I think I just remembered. But I feel like she forgave me.
She forgave you in the end?
Kind of. Like, well, my friend, I was friends with her. Like, this whole dramatic thing happened. I don't know. Like, it's a really long story. But she kind of, like, one day she stopped being friends with me, and I told her, like, oh, I'm sorry. I basically said, like, I don't feel comfortable saying anything around her. And so she stopped being friends with me, and I was like, I was gonna try to explain, but she just kind of ignored me and everything. We stopped being friends. And, like, not until, like, recently, like, I went my whole senior year not being friends with her, and she was one of my closest friends. And until recently, like, we started kind of, like, being, not friends, but, like, we talked to each other just because of, like, mutuals.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah, she still didn't really, I think she forgave me.
Yeah.
But we're just not close.
Yeah. Well, cause like when it comes to a situation like this, where you recognize like, oh, you made a mistake or that you hurt somebody, and you try to ask for forgiveness, but they don't accept it. Cause sometimes people, the person that has made the mistake, and they ask for forgiveness, and their friend or their ex-friend, they don't accept that forgiveness. Like it hurts both people, because for example, you hurt Natalie, right? And Natalie doesn't want to forgive you. Like, she's like, nah, like, you're no longer my sister, blah blah blah, like, forget you, like, I don't love you no more, don't talk to me, and stuff like that. Because this happens even with family. I've heard stories where like siblings fight to the extreme where like they cut themselves off and like they don't talk to each other anymore and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But like this type of stuff happens, and let's say like you hurt Natalie, right? And this happens, but like at first you're like, but I didn't do nothing, like it wasn't me, like it was some, let's say it was somebody else, but like they made it seem like it was you and stuff like that, and so you think you're innocent, like you feel like you're innocent and stuff like that, but you love your sister so much, you love her, like y'all grew up together, y'all had a close relationship and stuff like that, and so you love her so much to where you're like, I'm gonna just like accept it and ask her to forgive me, right? Because I love her so much, like I don't want this to like break us apart. And so you ask her, but Natalie's like, nah, like I can't, like you hurt me so much, I can't do it. And so then you feel in a spot where you're like, dang, like why isn't she like accepting my forgiveness, like I'm being sincere and stuff, like, and it wasn't actually even me. But sometimes like the only thing you can do is ask for forgiveness, and you did your part. And her knowing that you wanted to be forgiven, that's already out there, like God he hears everything, he's in every place. And a common mistake is that like people don't ask for forgiveness, or they expect things to sort out on its own. And sometimes it does happen where like things like sort out on its own and like everything is fine, but sometimes like it just hits different. I don't know if like y'all experience, but like it just hits different where they just say sorry to you, or they accept that like what they did was wrong and stuff like that. But like sometimes the person you ask forgiveness for, they don't accept it, but that's something that we can do, because the only thing we can do is ask for forgiveness, and that's the part we have to do.
And after that, you just wait.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a waiting game. Yeah, it's just a waiting game. So that's a common mistake, because most people don't ask for forgiveness.
No, they're too prideful.
Yeah, exactly. They're too prideful. Like they think, no, it wasn't like it wasn't me, or she taking it too seriously, like Natalie was saying. But like this is a common mistake where I don't know if y'all heard like where they tell you like, hey, just be the better person, But then like your prideful self, you're like nah, but I didn't even do nothing. It wasn't even me, like, I'm just being myself. Like they can't handle me, like, I don't know if you ever, like I don't know if you ever heard somebody be like, no, that's just me, that's just how I am. And if they get upset, they can't handle me, like they can't handle me, I don't know if you ever heard that, but that's something like that happens, with the youth, and not only even the youth, but like even older people, people who are supposed to be mature,
Like I feel like parents do that a lot, because it's like, well, I don't know, not to like, I've had like experiences with my mom where she like hurt my feelings, but she's never apologized. I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you got a story about that, huh?
Or like whenever, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say because of you.
Sorry.
Or whenever it's just like, or they're like, oh, like they don't apologize and they don't change like the way that they act either, because they're just like, oh, that's just how I am. Like I'm not gonna change or anything like that. Or like you tell them like, oh, that hurt my feelings, and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop acting like that. And it's just
when it's like your authority, like your parent, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And like there's no point in like trying to explain how you're feeling, because they're straight up telling you that I'm not gonna change, and they're not gonna ask for forgiveness, and then you just have to wait it out.
Well, what I would tell you is that if this is like a person like you know, or like it's a friend and stuff like that, like what I would say is like just separate yourself from them, because at the end of the day you're gonna be the one hurting, waiting for them to finally forgive you or finally change, you know. And sometimes these like people don't change, you know. Like if they're like that, it's very hard for somebody to change like quick, you know. And so sometimes you're gonna be in this spot of just waiting for them to finally change, and it's better sometimes to just like let them go, even though like it might be hard. It might be somebody like you're like a close friend, a friend from elementary type of thing.
Like what if it's someone's parent? Like, you know, some parents are like,
yeah, well, it's I don't know the right words to say, because you know I'm not a parent, so but you can only put yourself in their shoes, you know. Like a lot of it has to do with how they grew up and like their youth and their childhood and stuff like that. And sometimes like some parents don't grow up with parents and they don't have like